Hi, I'm Sebastian Chun. Yesterday I had a debate with my opponent. We agreed upon. The debate, after making every concession in the world to make it happen, to give you an idea of what I gave up, I allowed them to have a Democrat House representative, one of her colleagues, moderate the debate in a location they chose. And for the most part, with every topic they chose, the only thing I asked for was economic questions to be put out there. The biggest concession we asked was to make sure that we could film the debate so that we could share it with you. In addition to that, my grandmother lives in Texas, and she wanted to be able to see what's going on with my campaign. She wanted to chronicle it a little bit. She's excited about what's going on, and I also wanted to share that with her as well. So it was very disappointing that when we got there, after agreeing upon these terms, they told us that we couldn't film. We talked to the principal of the school. They said it was fine, but the moderator, and I'm supposing my opponent as well, did not want it to be filmed simply because as we learned as the debate went on, it became two on one. The moderator even came up to me afterwards, and like I said, he was a Democrat House representative, and said, "I hope I wasn't too biased. I know I was a little bit." But that's what I get for playing the game. It's not something that I want to complain about. What I want to do today instead is I've got a list of most of the questions that were asked yesterday and a couple of the questions that should have been. I'm going to answer those questions for you. Unfortunately, you won't get both sides of the story, but I at least want you to be able to hear what I have to say so you know where I stand on the issues, because I will never, ever back down from questions. I will never, ever not answer when the people call. I believe that's one of the key factors of my campaign, is making sure I'm as transparent and honest as possible.
Why did you decide to run for office?
I ran because of my story, my upbringing. My grandmother, I was raised by a single grandmother. She made under 20 grand a year. She worked construction jobs, swinging hammer to nail, working up on roofs, painting houses, doing everything you can imagine. During that time, she never took welfare, food stamps, or government assisted living. She taught me the value of hard work. She taught me not to take a handout. She taught me that the government is not always going to be there to take care of you, and you have to take care of yourself. It's led me to have the mentality to go out and start two businesses of my own that I'm very, very excited about having, and it's an honor and a privilege to run those. And also help support a nonprofit. One of the things that's important to me, the reason why I got into this race, is I understand what it's like to live in poverty. I understand what it takes to get out of poverty. I understand what it takes to start a business, and I understand, the regulations, the taxes, and so many crippling fees that the government puts on people and puts on business owners. So I got in this for a number of reasons, and it's all to help people. To me, it's a pay cut, and it's politics is not something I like. When you look at politicians, they're all bought and sold by special interest. In my race alone, there's almost $200,000 in this race, and $10,000 of that is mine. The reason why is I've avoided special interest, I've avoided political parties, and I've avoided lobbyists. I want to be a voice of the people, not the voice of these major corporations, and not the voice of bought and sold politics, business as usual, if you will. So that's why I decided to run, and that's why I plan on winning.
What is your view on the hospital provider fee and whether it should be made an enterprise fund?
So first part of this is you have to understand what the hospital provider fee is. The hospital provider fee is, in best terms, a tax on hospitals for the number of patients that are in beds. So some hospitals pay a little, some pay a lot, some pay none. This money then goes into a fund. It's matched by the federal government. So right now it's roughly a couple $100 million from us, a couple $100 million from them. It's thrown into Medicaid to help pay for Medicaid. This was a program a few years back, more than a few years back now, that was brought on by Democrats. It was their way of helping expand and pay for Medicaid. And then our Governor Hickenlooper stated that this bill is great, and because of this bill, because of the hospital provider fee, we're going to have one of the lowest costs to the state for Medicaid. Well, now he's one of the people leading the charge to turn this into an enterprise fund. what you have to understand what an enterprise fund is. An enterprise is taking this and turning it from a government-controlled program into a government-controlled business. That means more bureaucrats, more salaries, more red tape. On top of that, less money. What the government is doing is it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's taking a cut from here and losing a lot of those federal dollars to be able to pay for other programs. They say it's for roads, it's for schools. It's for whatever spending program the government wants, and that's dangerous. To give you the best analogy is the government walks into a Chevrolet dealership. They're looking at getting a Tahoe because they've got a big family. We know the government takes as much family as they can. Okay? Well, the one they want or the one they need is the affordable model. It needs to be the base model. It doesn't have to have all the bells and whistles. It just needs to get to point A to point B. Anybody who wants the bells and whistles can get it on their own, right? Instead, the government looks over to the side. They see a brand new Escalade fully suited up. And of course, the car salesman, in this case, which is special interest, is telling the government, you should get this. They're talking them into this because this is the right thing. It's the latest and greatest and the best, and you'll regret it if you don't. So the government goes and picks that one instead, even though it doubles their cost of their car note, doubles their insurance. And then on top of that, after going way above their spending limit on a vehicle, they go and apply for a new American Express and go to the mall and buy everything they can and max that card out too. That's what the government does. The government has a spending problem. The government needs Shopaholics Anonymous. So no, I don't support this. I think it's dangerous. I think when you hear so many talks about expanding Medicaid, so many talks about Medicaid not doing enough anymore, it's dangerous to not want to fund something that's already almost 10% of our budget. Medicaid makes up $2.4 billion of our $27 billion budget. It's one of the largest line items, and you want to get rid of one of the main ways we pay for it. Eventually, I'd like to see the hospital provider fee done away with. But right now, it's too dangerous to convert it and it's too dangerous to get rid of it. So no, I don't support this. And anybody who tells you that this is a good idea, they're lying to you because they're bought and sold.
How would you raise money to fix roads and bridges?
So this is a huge difference between me and my opponent. My opponent's idea is to raise the gas tax. She likes to raise taxes. That's the answer to everything. The government needs more money. Let's make the people pay for it. First thing I want to do is I want to make sure that the money that we're already getting from the gas tax, which just so you know, is roughly $300 million, is going to roads and bridges. It's going to the infrastructure. It's not going to everything under the sun. It's not going to this fund that the government uses right now to pay for everything they want. That's not the right way to do it. So my focus is first to make sure that that $300 million is making it to roads. It's making it to the bridges. Two is to make sure that these departments, a lot of these departments, CDOT, I have a lot of friends that worked in CDOT, people who would tell me these not great, horrible stories. CDOT's worried that they're not going to get the budget number they want next year if they don't spend all the money they have this year. So CDOT's out building stuff that doesn't need to be built. CDOT's a great department. They're incredible. They do the best they can. These guys work night and day. They're the ones responsible for clearing our roads. They're the ones responsible for doing so many great things. But they have the fear that if they don't use it, they're going to lose it. So we need to change that mentality in government. If you turn money in and you need more money next year, ask for more money next year and tell us why you need that money. That's what we need to focus on. So my philosophy is fairly simple. Let's spend the money that we have now, that we're getting now, on the roads, not spending on everything else that we need. And it really comes down to this. Government just needs to be smarter spenders. We need to be more efficient with our dollars. So I don't want to raise taxes. I just want to make sure that we spend the money more wisely.
Would you support repealing the bills passed to limit the size of assault rifle magazines? Where do you stand on requirements for background checks on all gun sales and the fees paid for background checks? And do you support allowing courts to remove guns from a home in cases of domestic violence?
So this is definitely, I guess it's about a three-part question. And the first thing you have to realize, this is my opponent's signature bill. She signed all these magazine restrictions, all these bills in place in 2013. That was her sponsored legislator. I will tell you, I really, really wonder all the people that supported this bill. Have they even owned a gun? Have they ever fired a gun? Have they ever even held a gun? Because if you ask them, one of them stated that people won't care about this because once you're done firing all the bullets in a magazine, you throw it away anyways. That's not true. All these bills did was take a company here, Magpul, that was headquartered here, manufactured here. It moved their headquarters to Austin, Texas, and it moved their manufacturing to Wyoming. So all we did with this bill is we didn't stop crime. We didn't stop gun violence. We cost people jobs, and we cost, and I'm really surprised that the government was all for this because it costs them tax revenue. And that's the word they use, revenue. It's not revenue, it's theft in my opinion, but that's what it did. So the first part is the magazine restrictions. First off, I can reload a gun fairly quickly, and I would say I am not as skilled as a lot of people. So that magazine restriction does absolutely nothing except restrict people's freedoms. People don't want to follow these laws because they feel like they are infringing on their Second Amendment rights. So what are we doing with this law? We're taking law-abiding citizens that did nothing, and we're turning them into criminals. That's what this does. The truth is, though, is the hardened criminals that are actually going to use these weapons for bad, the people that are out there gangbanging, shooting places up, those guns aren't legal. Those guns are sawed-off serial numbers. They're guns that got smuggled in, whatever the case is. They're stolen weapons. They're not legal because felons cannot own guns. The second part of this question is the... I'm sorry, give me 1 second. The second part of the question is, do I support the background checks? I got myself. I know the questions. The background checks are this. I'm okay with certain background checks. I think we need to delve into people's mental records. One of the things that this did is it made people who want to buy guns have to pay for the background checks. What I suggest is this. Let's compromise on this. I am fine with certain background checks as long as they don't, as long as it's not somebody who's on the no-fly list, because you can get on the no-fly list for just about anything. As long as we're not making lists up to keep people from owning guns, keeping people who are law-abiding citizens from owning guns, fine with it. I don't mind that. I will tell you, though, if you're going to have them pay for background checks, what I think this needs to be is that you put whatever that money is down, and if you pass your background check, that money goes towards your gun purchase. If you fail that background check, the likelihood is you probably knew you were going to fail that background check, because you know if you're a criminal, you know if you've done something bad. That money goes into whatever it goes into. We can figure out the fund for something later on, but I'm okay with people losing their money if they fail, but I want to make sure that we're not just charging people to charge people anymore. We have too many fees and things as it is. The last part of this is domestic violence cases. Here's my fear with this. It sounds great on paper. It sounds great. It sounds like we're trying to prevent some mean guy from having a gun and using it. My fear is it's too wide open, okay? What if that gun is registered to his wife, and he's beat his wife, he's gone to jail, they're back together. He gets mad one day. I can tell you this. Let's take a guy who's 250 pounds versus a woman who's 110 pounds, okay? She has no way to defend herself. That man does not need a gun to do harm. He does not need a gun to kill her. He could pick up a kitchen knife, he could strangle her, he could beat her to death, okay? That woman does not have those options. Because of his size, a kitchen knife, she can swing it, it might get some cuts, but it's not going to do enough damage, okay? I am okay in this situation, and I don't care what people label me as for this. If that woman is in danger and that man's about to hurt her, he's about to kill her, she has that right to pick up that gun and do what's necessary to protect her and her family's life. So none of these bills make sense. None of these bills are good. They sound good. All they are ways for these people to win points with a base and make it seem like anybody who opposes these are extremists. It's not extremism, it's common sense. And they want to call this common sense gun laws. It's not. There is no common sense being used in this, because all it does is restrict people's freedoms and it's costs the state jobs. It's idiocracy at its finest.
Do you support an increase in the reimbursement to doctors under Medicaid so more doctors will accept it?
This goes back to the hospital provider fee, right? We get rid of that. We have less ways of paying for Medicaid. I'd like for more doctors to be able to accept this. I think we need to vet where it is being accepted and what it's accepted for. I think we do need to make sure that that these costs aren't outrageous. I don't want someone misusing this, if you will. I want to make sure that doctors are still being able to make money because, you know, you go to school for so many years, you have a huge amount of debt for doing that. You've got to take care of your family, and I want to make sure. So yes, I would like to see that, but I want to make sure that we fix some of these other solutions sooner and make sure that we focus on an all-around solution for Medicaid, because a $2.4 billion budget level is very high, and there's so many things that people are trying to do to expand Medicaid. So yes, I want to see doctors get more, be able to expand coverage. And when you think about rural Colorado, there's a lot of doctors in rural Colorado that don't accept Medicaid. So I want to make sure that we get them, and I want to make sure the doctors are properly compensated for what they do. So I do support it, but there are certain restrictions and certain limitations currently. We need to fix those first, and then let's come back and look at this issue.
On that same token, do you think we should cover more people and raise the amount of income you can earn and still get Medicaid?
So this is ridiculous. This is where you have this issue, okay? So if you don't work, you qualify for Medicaid. If you're a single person, if you're me, okay, an adult in his late 20s, and you work, but you don't make enough money, let's say that you say you don't make enough money, but you make 133% above the poverty line, you can get Medicaid. That seems a little ridiculous. And children, they're going to say it's for the children. Children are covered. Children are fine. The CHIP program takes care of them. Okay, elderly are taken care of. If you're a pregnant woman, 200% of the poverty line. That's what it takes, and you will get Medicaid. So no, this is dangerous. All this is spending more money, and that's the problem. Like I said, it goes back to the spending problem. Government has a spending problem. They want to spend more and more money because they don't understand that money does not grow on trees. It's finite, and you and I, we have to live on a budget. If we don't, if we spend too much money and we go in debt, that's on us. The government's not going to be there to say it's okay. But the government seems to think it can spend as much money as they want and can come to you and say, we're going to just take more money from you. That's not fair. I don't agree with it. All it will do is cause more problems. It'll be more debt to the system, more debt to the people. No, I am not okay with that. I do not support that at all.
How do you think we can lower the cost of college tuition?
That's a tough question, right? Because that's something very important. You saw the folks that were Bernie Sanders fans because they loved his idea of free college. Free college cannot work because, once again, it goes back to the government spending problem. We build ourselves in so much debt. We're the third highest taxed nation, tax country in the whole world. We're the first highest tax country in the free world. Those others are dictatorships that are higher than us, so that's a little scary. So we tax, and we spend, and we're still in debt, and we still don't have enough money. But this goes to this. Colleges kind of do the same thing. If you look at some of these universities, the University of Colorado, Denver, okay, they're building this brand new spanking beautiful gym that nobody that's pretty much there right now is going to be able to use unless they're there for the next couple of years. Fewer than a couple of years. If you came into school a couple of years ago, you won't get it. If you're a sophomore, you won't be able to take advantage of that. And that's raised people's tuition. The problem is once that building's built, it's paid off, they're not getting rid of that extra cost on the tuition. So it's going to be a permanent thing. So it's not a sunset tax. And that's what colleges do. They raise, even after things are paid off, so they have more money to spend however they want. And you look at these professors they have, they're spending $175,000, or they're making $175,000 a year, and they're not even seeing a classroom, or they don't care about the classroom. And this is big because yesterday in the debate I said this, and the moderator Paul says, well, then you're going to lose good people. You're going to lose good people no matter what. In business, we have to create strong bench strength. If we lose a good rep, if we lose a good manager, a good analyst, we have to have a strong bench to replace them. So it's a matter of making sure that we improve our quality of education and not overpaying for that quality of education, because we can't lower tuition and still raise people's salaries and still raise everything else and raise spending. We can't do that. So we have to work on spending reforms at state level, at state colleges, making sure that those states are limited, state colleges are limited to what they can spend. And finally, if you go to a state college, I think there's two things that need to happen. Books are expensive. Book companies aren't going to like this, but hey, I'm not bought by special interest. I think that the universities should provide whatever whatever literature, whatever platform, whatever book they're using for that classroom, and a PDF file that you can download and you can print yourself, so you don't have to go out and spend those tons and tons, hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars each semester on books. And I think it's very important that state universities post what salaries you can make by what degree you get, what the average salary is. It's a fair question to ask, because a lot of students go in, they get a degree, they get themselves in $200,000 in debt, or $75,000 in debt, or $300,000 or $100,000. The list goes on and on. It's all over the map. And then they find they can only make $30,000 a year, and they're stuck with these huge payments they can never pay back, and they're in debt for the rest of their lives because of this. So I think that's a fair thing to add on there as well.
How can legislature help build affordable housing?
It's not the legislator's job to build affordable housing. That's the problem with too many people asking. They want the government to do too much. What the government needs to do is far less. The government needs to do a little. So what the government needs to do is it needs to, repeal the Construction Defects Act that has not prevented a single construction defect situation from happening. It sounds good, but it doesn't help. It's caused insurance costs to go up. It's caused building costs to go up. It's put a lot of local builders out of business. It's killed jobs, and it's raised costs, and it's made it impossible for families that are starting out to be able to get a starter home. It's made it impossible for somebody who did get a starter home to get out of that starter home and get their next level home. So we need to repeal that. We need to repeal a lot of regulations out there. We need to regulate less. We just need to make sure that the regulations we put are smart regulations that are that have purpose and don't cause economic problems, don't cause people to go out of business, and doesn't cause people to not be able to afford homes. So that's what I think. And then if we can do some tax reforms that can help save people money as well, so we can make it easier to purchase a home because you have more money in your pocket.
Do you support the amendment on the ballot to raise the minimum wage from $8.31 per hour to $12 an hour over the next 4 years?
So the argument is that $8.31 isn't a livable wage. My argument is neither is $12 an hour. So you're not going to get to a living wage. What this does is it's simple. The government never wants to take a pay cut itself. It wants to make everybody else pay more. And then what does the government do? It taxes you more. On top of that, when you increase wages, here's what you do. Walmart, McDonald's, these major corporations, this is going to have a very small effect on them. It doesn't hurt them. They don't care. Okay? They make billions and billions of dollars a year. It's not going to hurt them. What it's going to hurt is going to hurt that mom and pop shop. Okay? The lady who owns a specialty retail shop. Okay? She has 3 employees and herself, and she works 60 hours a week right now managing that business, and she has some folks working 40 hours a week. Okay? Right now, if we were to raise that minimum wage on her, she would go from making $4,000, that's all her take home is, to $1,500, because we'd have a $2,500 increase in her labor. So what is she going to do? Well, she's going to raise cost, she's going to cut hours, and she's not the only one, because the vendors that she purchases her stuff from are going to do the same, and you're going to see it all over the map. Now, the Democrats want to say it's a start and it'll help. People need this. What people need is they need less taxes. They need the government to stop taking so much. They need the government to get out of your pockets, and they need the government to create an economic environment that makes it more affordable to live in this state. So raising wages sounds great on paper, once again, but what needs to happen is we need to find a way to cut cost of living. I will tell you there's an argument that the Republicans have. The Republicans say that this will speed up automation, or it will cause companies to go fully automated. The simple fact is full automation is going to happen regardless of what we do. Raising wages won't change that. We need to get on top, and we need to focus on educational training. We need to make sure that when you're in high school, you have career development paths. So if you don't go to college, you already have an education, a vocational program, whatever it is, that can get you a good job, so you're not stuck making minimum wage jobs when you get out of high school. Because the simple fact is minimum wage, minimum skills. It was not meant to be a livable wage. It was meant to be a starter job for you as you develop into your career.
How can the state legislature help create jobs?
Once again, it's not the state's job to create jobs. It's the government's responsibility to create a healthy environment for businesses to thrive, businesses to start up. Right now, we have some policies, some tax credits. Yesterday when I was in my debate, I will say it was a 2-on-1 debate. Rhonda and Paul Rosenthal, who have two of the worst business records out there, and you can look that up. That's not something I'm making up. They do not have pro-business minds. They don't have pro-business voting records. Acted like they did, and they acted like the government does so many things to help businesses. It doesn't, okay? We have too many regulations. I already said it once with the Construction Defect Act. It's put home builders out of business. These taxes we have 68 individual taxes in Colorado. Taxes and fees, regulations, all these things that are weighing businesses down. It is almost impossible to start a new business here in the state. And major corporations, well, they are being entertained, they are being pushed to come to Texas, to go to Florida, to go to New York, places that have better business policies in our state. So we need to adopt a business-friendly philosophy in the state, because simple fact is the government should not be there to support everyone. The government is not there to give everyone a handout. The government needs to be able to create an environment for people to lift themselves up. And you can't do that if there are no jobs. You can't do that if there are no companies. And the simple fact is right now our government is choking the American dream. And we need to get those hands off the neck of the American dream, the boot off the neck, if you will, because it's not healthy, it's not safe, it's just going to cause more and more problems down the road. We need to be more business friendly, we need less regulations, and we need to give people more of their money back.
Do you believe that a voter should be able to take a picture of their own ballot and post it on social media?
Who the hell cares? Why does the government want to regulate everything? Look, here's the thing. I understand the arguments against it. The arguments against it are they don't want people to buy votes. They don't want people to be pressured into saying who they voted for. I understand that, but at the same time, in my opinion, it's freedom of speech. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. I'm so sick and tired of this government having to control everything. Look, my campaign's about creating better jobs. It's creating better opportunities, creating a better education. Economics, education were two of my biggest things. But one of the things, and it's even my campaign slogan, is limit government, not freedoms. I'm sick and tired of the government trying to dictate every piece of our lives. Okay, I don't want the government in my home. Don't want them in your home, and I don't want them to tell us, we can or cannot take ballot selfies. Now, I would probably be okay with getting rid of the selfie stick. If that might be the one crazy government overreach, because I'm so sick and tired of that damn selfie stick. But I don't care if you take a selfie ballot. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Go ahead, do it. And I will tell you this. I have heard from basically every DA in the state. They've basically said they're not going to enforce this law because even they agree it is the most ludicrous law they have ever heard of. So go ahead, take your ballot selfies. Just make sure when you take that ballot selfie, you have Sebastian Chun for State Senate District 29 checked. So in closing, as I said, I had a debate yesterday. These were some of the questions that were supposed to come up. Everything was turned upside down. I'm very disappointed we weren't able to film it. I would have loved for you to see the true differences between Rhonda and myself. But I at least want you to be able to see what I'm about. And I will tell you this, if elected, there are some couple key factors. I have avoided taking special interest, lobbyists, and political party money. And if elected, I don't plan on, or I will donate I will donate my salary simply because I believe that the government takes too much as it is. I think the government needs to give back. I understand there's some politicians that can't do that for whatever reason. I'm not going to try to force them or tell them how to live their lives, but I'm doing that because I believe that I should work for you. I believe in public service, not self-service, and I'm so sick and tired of these people lining their own pockets as politicians. You shouldn't get rich off politics, and that's a major problem we have in this country now. So thank you guys for taking the time. I hope that I get your support. I know we're only a few days away. I will tell you this. If you want to come celebrate with us and celebrate my victory, We're going to be at McCabe's Irish Pub and Bistro. It's in the Southlands Mall. We're going to be there with a couple of other campaigns, good friends of mine, Richard Bowman, James Woodley, and Jeff Baker. All three of those guys are fantastic. They have fantastic families, and they have run great campaigns. I think we've all ran good, clean campaigns, which I'm very proud of because I'm so sick and tired of all these dirty campaigns out there. But please come. That kickoff party, I think, starts at 6 o'clock. We'll have appetizers there, and there's definitely going to be some drinks. So it's a pub. So feel free to come on out. I hope to see you there. If you do have any questions, any concerns, I want to just say this real quick. Or if I get elected, you feel like cussing me out because I screwed up. My personal cell phone number is 720-999-7783. Feel free to give me a call or a text. I'll answer any questions you got. Thank you guys, and get out and vote.